So the idea will be is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 platforms, and we're gonna get the last one installed somewhere around here. The rig terminates on a upright instead of a squat stand, and there's 8 of them on the rig. So we're gonna move 1 extra squat stands on this side, line a platform in with it, and then extend one of these diamond mats kind of here. So that last platform moves all the way here, and what happens is we still maintain our 8 squat stands, so 4 on each side. And then what we're gonna do here, where I made the gold wall, is on the floor we're gonna go this way, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4th one. So like I got 1 platform right here, but it's kind of in the warm-up area. It's not really used, and also that I just don't like plywood, so we're gonna get rid of that. I'll turn that into some kind of project of mine. But we're gonna go 1, 2, and 3 racks there, and then it's gonna have a matching rig on the wall that will go alongside this wall right here, and then this one will basically terminate about there, but we're gonna pull it a couple feet this way. So this way there'll be plenty of room here for snatches, squats, extra personal training, stuff like that that'll be useful. So there's some come-alongs there. Also, one of the things that we've done, this rig has worked really well, but one thing people always complain is these wall ball targets being right where the bright lights are. And it's nice to have a really well lit gym, but I mean, you can see those things are like almost like the damn sun. So we're gonna actually move, I wanna see where the uprights will be exactly, but set it up so that the wall ball targets will be kind of dead in between the lights, or as close as we can get to it, so that it's a little more reasonable. And then I'm finally gonna get rid of these dirty south bars because they're just not that terribly useful. Let me shake the camera, get it a better focus. There we go. And so that's kind of the idea, but let me step way the hell back. All right, so with that being said, so we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 platforms. That one's gone, and then we're gonna have these flat mats inlaid right there to delineate that spot and designate that it's a slightly different area, kind of like I have now flat mats for the warm-up area. Then we got the diamond ones, and then the flat mats on that back side. And that's where like the final line of the gym is at, and it works really, really well. We have another row of like the flat mats there, so that's the area where we're gonna walk through the bathroom, and it's not gym floor. Also for the kids' room, they go around there. They generally don't come there because as humans we typically will follow some kind of patterns and lines, but also because it just looks pretty. And so that's kind of the idea. Probably missing something, but that's how it's gonna go down. And so we'll document the whole process. I'll probably have some other stuff to add along the way, but we're gonna find out how it's gonna work. And also one other thing too, I have ropes and ropes here and rings there, so all the ropes kind of end up congregating on this side, so the flow of the gym is different. So I'm probably gonna have one line of climbing rope climbs on one side, and then probably move this way on the other side, and they'll make the flow a little bit better, or at least, you know, in theory. So we're gonna see how that kind of works out. Plus I might end up changing, like the central rope doesn't really get used that much, so I might go and use the a set of rings from the middle and between, especially now I can't do that because there's rings, and there'd be rings here, and so the 2 muscle ups wouldn't work that way. But if I offset it, but we're gonna get to that as we kind of go along. That's one of the unknowns that I'm not sure about how that's gonna work. So we'll kind of see and play it by the ear. I think that's about it for now, though. So I've gone around roughly what I want to do, but one of the things I didn't explain is why do it. And the idea behind is we have right now 8 squat stands on the main rig, plus 1 works on freestanding one that I don't really particularly like. And it's kind of in the warm-up area, and we have 15 barbell spots for all the workouts. 3 rows of 5, 1 on this side of the rig, 2 on the other side. And I can squeeze 2 more into the warm-up area if we were to have a really large class. So 17 barbells total. Now obviously the square footage of the space is not going to change, but through the little variation of how I'm going to set it up. We're actually going to gain one spot, which is not a huge change. The biggest reason is we're going to have a designated area for extra training and private training. So this way, that wall, the gold wall, there'll be 3 platforms separate. So this way, if people coming in want to do extra squats, they want to work on extra strength or anything like that, they don't have to use the same rig that everybody's using for the workout. So if we're doing pull-ups, muscle-ups, or anything like that, a lot of times there's interference on it, so we have to kind of navigate. So it'll make it a little bit more, not exciting, efficient. And I think it'll create for some better flow for some of the extra training and private training. A pretty big reason is too, because the layout has been the same for about 3 years, and changing it up will be kind of nice and exciting. Changing like where the wall walls are, we're changing where the rings are, like some of that will make it a little more efficient as well. Oh, and the other thing too, so I actually wanted to do this renovation at a different gym, not exactly the same as we're doing obviously, but some kind of where we document the whole situation. It was about a year ago or something like that. And that kind of never came to fruition. However, I did find 4 extra uprights for free, and I already had 1 extra laying around. And through thinking how this rig can change, because I'm going to free up uprights from over here, that means that I'll be able to have the extra 6 or maybe even 7th. If it'll fit right, I'll put a 7th one on, so we'll have an extra area for storage and stuff on that rig as well. But basically I'll have 11 squat stands. I'll be able to sell my WorkSun squat stand because I don't like it, and I'll put it online and sell it to somebody, and they'll pay back for some of that renovation. So hopefully I can actually end up being free or damn near free as far as the renovation is concerned, despite it being not really fun to do, especially dragging over 100 mats that are 100 pounds a piece. I think it'll be a fun project. But yeah, in the end it's all about the extra squat stands, so we don't have to drag them around, because I was thinking of buying the little guys, and just a slightly different variation. Plus, especially now, that wall by itself is all just kind of plain and boring, but so were the other 2 walls before I painted all the CrossFit Evolution and whatever the logo's on them. Oh, it's right behind me actually, it's right there. And so now that'll give me another area to kind of doodle on and so forth. Plus that wall was getting really janky, and now it's going to be all pretty, and we'll have some kind of hopefully cool design on it, so we'll figure that out once the rig goes on, and we'll see what will look nice on it. But yeah, I'll go keep on taking the things down and then start taking the rig down and prepping. Today is Thursday. I'll prep as much as I can, and Friday I'll continue prepping, and possibly kind of new ideas will come along the way, because Saturday, once the classes are done, that's when the floor moving begins. Although I don't know, maybe I'll dig in tomorrow or something like that, who knows. You know, not promising nothing to anybody, and Russians are not exactly known as the most trustworthy people. You never see some TV show or movie and say, oh, these trustworthy Russians, it's always these sneaky effing Russians or something like that. So let's get going. All right, got the first little piece, about 17,000 to go. Turn the lights off. Doing that part right there is tricky, solo, because that beam is pretty heavy, and this thing is by itself not too light either. So if I take the bolts out, then they're both gonna just snap off on each side. So the trick is to take the bottom bolt out, move that out of the way, hook this on its own through the middle, and then take this out a bit sideways, and then this will hang on that one bolt, and then I can get to it and take that out at once. So yeah, kind of a pain in the butt. I took the first 4 uprights, so first squat stand out of the way. There's going to be a platform back here, and the last barbell of the class will go somewhere around here-ish, which is pretty good spacing, especially if a lot of this will be just squats and bench and stuff like that. So that gives us 1, 2, 3 platforms. We still get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the back side. So we're gonna end up with 13 barbells, right? Yeah, 13 barbells in the main area, 3 in the extra. If we really need to, a couple more in the warm-up area. I don't really see me being able to use this side because the reverse hybrid GHD can't really go start blocking the doors or anything like that. But once it's all down, we'll see where it's at. But overall, this is not bad. And this is the low pull-up bar. So I might try to center this platform kind of with the main rig, but I'm gonna play around. I'll measure out some broomsticks and whatnot and start playing it around. Plus this doesn't have to go on too much because the way I'm going to move is set up the mats here first and kind of mat it out, but it won't have to be dead on exactly where it goes. At least that's the idea in my mind. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I want to mention is when taking these bolts out, as we take the pull-up bars down, what we want to do is we actually want to loosen the opposite side off. So this right here, I don't know if you can move, but there's play in it now, because otherwise what happens if I was to take this bolt out now and the other side is not loose, what will happen is this will likely go bing or move around in any random direction, because all these planes are not exactly flat and there's a bit of a tension in the entire system. So you can get, if you're especially high up on the ladder or something like that, or your fingers in the way or something like that, so it can get pretty dicey. So something to be aware of is loosen up those. I don't know if Rogue gives the instructions and whatnot, but even when putting the whole rig together is you bolt everything loosely, the entire thing, and do not tighten until the entire structure is up, because otherwise you'll start pulling uprights and all kinds of directions sideways. So we want to make sure that even when we're taking apart, we take some precaution and do not lose any fingers. But the cool part is I got the last final big beam out. I have that one left, but that's much easier because it's just 2 pipes. It's not that solid steel construction, the box steel, and it's a lot lighter, so it's a little bit easier to get rid of. And then these guys, the shorties, they go down quick. It's the tall uprights that are much more of a fight, and then we got to be careful with the dirty south, because that's where they can, if unbolted bottom and bottom, the whole thing will come down, and that's how the one guy lost his thumb a little bit, so we don't want that to happen. Where we are here, I'm getting the little shorties over there, but then as I go down this way, we got the dirty south bar right behind me, and they're much, much heavier, and it'll be pretty tricky to do solo. So what I'm actually gonna do is leave 3 uprights over there as a stability thing, and I'm gonna restart at that corner. And I already took all the little, right there we had, let's see, right here we had all the stuff for storage, and so now it's all on the, on the weight tree that the kilos used to be. Those are stacked in the corners for it now. And so what I'm gonna do is take apart the dirty south pull-up bars and then kind of go that way, because if I unbolt this one upright here, it'll hang just from that one, and then I'll be able to shimmy over and carefully kind of take it down, and we'll have stability coming from that way. So that's the plan, rather than being able to. And I think technically I can actually wait till 3:30, 4 o'clock when people come and get somebody to help me out, but that's just no fun. So let's go fly this solo. One more thing I want to go over too. So when dealing with the wall bolt targets, there's some of them have multiple screws, some of the older ones have just the 2 screws, or 2 bolts rather. So when unbolting it, just be mindful and really careful, because last thing you want is for that bottom bolt to come out, and then it'll pivot around that one and swing around like a damn cleaver. And they look sturdy, but they are quite heavy, and so it's something to be aware of. So whenever I deal with the wall bolt targets, I'm actually quite careful and conscious of the fact that we're working with pretty dangerous stuff here. So I just want to point that out in case somebody somehow one day is watching this, and this will save a finger or a life. So I want to show too is to be mindful of, if you, like, these are the Rogue new rigs, and they have holes on the sides. However, the old style ones do not. They only have them like at the very, very top. So the problem becomes is like there's a top hole here, so I can bolt this. There's a top hole here that I can bolt this pull-up bar to, and this one actually was custom modified because it came a little longer and I wanted it on the short upright. But anyways, and so something to be mindful is to have the correct uprights, especially since I extended this rig. I used the older uprights because they were just laying around. And so when I want to put the storage on it from the side, I could only do it this way or the other way, and I couldn't do it this way whatsoever because there's just no holes. And that just limits some of that flexibility. You can actually see the old Rogue logos, whereas the newer ones are written in actually the same font almost as that. So I got pull-up bars left over, pretty much the only pull-up bars on this tiny little rig with one leg missing. But when you walk in, I can see that pull-up bar and I can see this pull-up bar. So what I want to do is actually, when I rebuild the rig, flip it. So I'm going to walk around on the other side and we're going to see what I mean. So if we look this way, right about here, the pull-up bars disappear, giving me a clearer picture. Now this is, if people make fun of me for this one, I understand. That's a little nitpicky, but since I already can I'm already lining up the wall ball targets between here and so forth, might as well have a little fun, and we're gonna line the pull-up bars up by height. So when we walk into the facility, we'll have a nice clear view and not a double pull-up bar, but they'll kind of blend in together from about this distance. Same way as you can see right here, it's a double pull-up bar, but this one kind of disappears with the other one. And I think it looks clean. I'm gonna get rid of that double pull-up bar anyways. I think that those are a waste of time and I'll just cut it down. So, but let's step back a little. It's really nice without the rig. I almost wanna just not have it. Just kidding, we'll have the rig, so. The one cool thing about the short uprights, that something like this can be done. And then we can just lazily take it down on the floor rather than try to stand and kind of hold on to things. So, tall uprights though, I wouldn't do that with. We tried to actually snap one of the lights before because there's bands running across and they're really top heavy, so it gets really, really sketchy. But shorties, good to go. I wanted to address for a while and I keep forgetting. We have this one pull-up bar that looks all red, and it's not red because it's just a bunch of human sacrifice or anything like that. I had it powder coated red, and I have another longer pull-up bar that's red as well. But I ended up not needing the other one, and this one was just clashing all by itself, just the only piece being red. So I painted it black, and every couple of years I just have to touch it up, which I haven't. So now it looks like we've just sacrificed a bunch of hands to the gods of CrossFit, and that's not what happened. But figure if there's any confusion why that thing is red, now you have the answer. Well, that was a little dicey. So I totally forgot, didn't even pay attention that that thing was not attached, and it just whoosh, almost fell on me, but I was fortunate enough that it was falling slow enough that I could catch it. But yeah, the rig is down and I'll take it all apart and then I'll throw it in the corner and walk around doing an overview shot. But yeah, that's roughly how 10 grand of rig looks like. Still have a couple of pieces laying there. I'm gonna drag them over in a second. But yeah, maybe 12 grand, maybe 15, I don't know exactly. And then this bucket alone is probably like 60, 70, maybe, nah, it's gotta be more, it's gotta be like 100 pounds, but I'm gonna try to put it on the scale and break it or something. But yeah, Look at this space now.